the hate army troll.
It's the hate army,
bro. Hate army.
Shout out to hate.
Good vibes to the
Shout
hate
out to
army.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out
Shout out to hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out for
Shout
hate.
out for hate.
Happy Father's Day in the USA. I know that Father's Day is different days around the world, but in the United States, today is the day that we recognize our dads. And, later today, I'll be calling my dad, seeing what he's up to, wishing him a good day, and catching up. I actually call my parents about once a week to catch up. They live on the other side of the country. I hope that for you, if your dad's still alive, and you're still talking, right, give him a call. Say hello. Spend some time with him. Do something. Just say, hi, I appreciate you. I love you. You would be surprised how simply saying something like that can affect someone in a positive way and turn things around for them, especially if things are not going so well. And I'm absolutely sure that hopefully your dad would appreciate it. And if not, well, it is what it is, but at least you tried.
You know, I'm not a dad. I'm a cat dad, technically, but not a human dad. So it's just another day for me.
Right? Anyway, went downstairs to have our usual breakfast together, my wife and I and Jasper Kitty. And two things. First of all, we immediately notice our suet feeder, which we have on our back fence, and birds and squirrels come by every day and eat this suet block that we put out there, is gone. And we're like, now, I don't think someone would have come by and stolen a suet feeder out of our backyard. Number one, it's private property to even be in our community. So I don't think anyone would have committed a crime. And if they were going to do that, steal the suet feeder. I think they would have probably went for some high dollar value things, not that. So we're looking all around. We're like, where could it be? Well, guess where it is? It's on the other side of the fence, but there's a problem. It's hard to spatially really explain this unless you see it. We have a small enclosed fenced-in backyard. Our suet feeder is usually hanging on the back of that fence towards the house facing, but that's where the squirrels and birds get at it and eat every day. And it's very nice. We get all kinds of beautiful birds that come by. Recently, we've been seeing some other awesome ones as well that we've never seen before. One that's like yellow and black and stuff. Like, wow, this is amazing. We love it every single year. But the problem is, on the other side of the fence, there's only about, I'd say, maybe 2 feet, if that, of standing room, and then, boom, there's a ditch. And that ditch goes down pretty sharply, and that is basically an irrigation ditch, where when it rains, all of the water catches in that ditch, so that basically the yards don't flood. And so, there's not a lot of maneuvering room, let's put it that way. So I'm looking, I'm like, oh crap, the suet feeder somehow got disconnected from our side of the fence, thrown over the fence, and is sitting perfectly right there in the middle of this like 1.5 to 2 feet of room before the ditch. And I'm like, well, thankfully it didn't go in the ditch, because if it went in the ditch, I wasn't going down into an irrigation ditch to get this thing that's like $2. I would just get another one. But I'm like, well, it's right there. Can I get it? And I'm thinking, well, I could jump the fence, but the problem is that 1 to 2 feet is like loose soil, and I don't know how like solid it is. If I go over there, there's a chance it might collapse and I fucking fall into this irrigation ditch and I get hurt, right? Which is not worth it for a $2 suet feeder. So like, so let me think about this, like things I can do. Well, maybe I can go around, because this is a fenced-in area. Behind that area is a dog walking park for all of our community. And I was thinking, oh, maybe there's a way in, because I never actually looked before. There must be a way in. I know that landscapers have been in there, and I'm like, there has to be a way in there easily for access. So tossed down my sneakers, ran outside, ran into the backyard, or not the backyard, the dog walking area, and I looked, I was like, there is absolutely no access to this thing. It is 100% fenced in. I'd say the fence is about 3-4 feet tall. It's a pretty, it went up to like maybe around here, so not ultra, like not super high fence, but pretty decently high. I'm like, man, I could jump it, but again, I don't know how solid that ground is. I'm nervous that it would, collapse and I get sucked into this irrigation ditch. So I'm like, so this is not going to work. There's like no access to this thing. How am I going to get this suet feeder? So I went back in the house and I was like, I got to brainstorm for a bit. And I said, if we just had an old style hanger, a wire hanger I could just bend it and reshape it, and we could just hook it right from over the fence. Shouldn't be a problem. So I start looking in the house, and I realize we have like no old style hangers. They're all either the ones made of like the plastic with the felt on it with the tiny hook, or they kind of have like plastic, like no full wire hangers. I'm like, damn, this is something that was used to be so common in homes back in the day. And it looks like for the most part, they've just been like phased out. You don't even think about it when you buy a clothes hanger anymore, that there's no more like full wire, right? Well, guess what? I finally found one. It was in our closet in the front of the house where we have all our jackets and stuff. And it was like on a jacket that I almost never wear in the corner. Oh, it is wire. Cool. So I bent the hanger. All you got to do, if you ever need to do this yourself, it's very simple. You just take the ends of the hanger and you go, so instead of it being a stretched out hanger, you just, and it becomes a tool, a very long hooking tool. And I just said, okay, this should work fine. Went over, zoop, got it. Hooked it, pulled it up, no problem. And this time around, I've now attached it lower down on the fence, not as close to the top as I did last time. Because what I'm thinking happened was probably a squirrel or one of these creatures, probably not a bird because the bird's not strong enough, but one of these creatures was probably trying to finish up the suet block in there and was like pulling it, and it just happened to dislodge and flip over the fence. So if I put it lower, even if they're pulling up and it dislodges, it'll just fall straight to the ground and stay on our side of the fence. So hopefully this will not happen again. And now I basically have a deformed hanger that I will use as a reaching tool around the house if I ever need one, you know, in the future. So no big deal. But it was something a little creative I had to do this morning in order to solve a problem. Now, another cool thing that happened this morning, that's actually a good positive thing, is we are always looking to try to figure out healthier food, healthier meals, and things that we can do to, you know, make ourselves in better shape. You know, as I told you guys yesterday on a stream, I recently weighed myself. I was 203, like 0.4 pounds or something like that. That's not bad, but that's also not great. Like, my ideal weight is 185 pounds, but that's if I'm, like, fit and working out, which I'm not actively really doing that much right now. So I definitely have, like, you know, 15 plus pounds of weight that I could take off. So one of the ways you could do that is to try to eat healthier, right? And my wife and I have been talking about this recently. We really should cut a lot of dairy out of our diet if we can, because dairy is extra calories, extra fat that we really don't need. You know, getting older, you got to start to get to the healthier foods and things like that. So, my wife said that she wanted to start making us, like, healthier breakfast. Like, typically, for breakfast, I'd have one of two things. Either a bagel with some cream cheese, and usually I have, like, that veggie-style cream cheese that actually has vegetables in it. But, I mean, it is still dairy, but it's not super unhealthy dairy or anything like that. Or I would have one of those microwave burritos. Now, probably that's not very good for you, but at the same time, it's very small. I only have one of them. You know, typically it's like bacon, egg, and cheese, or like sausage, egg, and cheese with, you know, a few other extra things tossed in there. I have the bagel more often than the burrito, but I do have the burrito every once in a while to mix it up. And I just have that with a black coffee, by the way. Nothing else, just a black coffee. So my wife said, you know, what I would like to do is I would like to make healthier breakfasts for us, but something that I don't have to make every day. So why don't we take the idea of the breakfast burrito, right? But why don't I make our own homemade breakfast burritos that we can freeze, and then when we want them, we can microwave them and eat them just like those. I say, hey, you want to take a shot at it? Go for it, right? Sounds good to me. So we actually ended up getting a bunch of ingredients during our, you know, grocery shopping trip back on our day off on Thursday. And yesterday, she did that. She basically made a batch of homemade burritos. So here's what they are. Listen to this, okay? Chicken sausage, way better than pork sausage for sure. Almost no, you know, very low fat, low grease, still very flavorful. Scrambled eggs with some seasoning like, you know, salt, pepper, things like that in it. Pico de gallo, which is obviously diced tomatoes, diced onions, some cilantro, and some jalapeno, all mixed together. Diced variety of peppers, so like green, orange, red, bell peppers, all like chopped up. And a creamy chipotle sauce. So out of everything I just described, the only thing in there that really would have much or any fat calories is probably the sauce. But it's not like we're going, oh, here we go, and put the whole bottle on the burrito. It's like, you know, you put a little bit in there for extra flavor. All right? So basically, she cooked all that up the other day in a batch, and we got regular sized burrito tortillas from the grocery store. And by the way, I'm curious about this. When you get a burrito at like a restaurant, like if you go to a Mexican restaurant right now, or like we have a place down the street, it's called Alberto's Jr., and they make these awesome, huge burritos. I swear their burrito wraps are huge, right? Compared to what you buy at the store. Because how am I eating a burrito that's like insanely large and stuffed with the same size burrito wrap that you buy at the store that's only like this big? Like, how could you make a burrito that size? I get the feeling that Mexican restaurants like bulk buy in gross these like giant wraps from like a wholesaler, and you just can't get them at a regular grocery store. They don't have them that big. That's what I think anyway. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So using a regular size tortilla wrap, just make a burrito. So the burrito is not huge, but it's bigger than the microwave. The microwave burrito I would have is usually about that big. These were probably about this big, so a little bit larger. So all we did, they're frozen. We wrapped them individually in like tin foil, or not tin foil, aluminum foil, and put them in our freezer. And now each day when we want one, we just take it out, you toss it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and we eat it. So this is the first time I was having one. She had one yesterday and told me, oh, it's amazing, you got to have one this morning. So I toss it in there, and immediately it smells great. I'm like, oh, this is a good sign. I take a bite. This thing is absolutely bursting with flavor. I was like, whoa. Like, that is crazy amount of flavor in this burrito. And by the way, there's no dairy in this, right? Like I said, maybe a little bit of the chipotle sauce has it, but no cheese or anything in there. And I'm like, dude, this is like incredibly good. I can't believe how tasty this is. You can taste everything, like, you know, big chunks of tomato. You're getting a little bit of crunchiness of the peppers. And the sausage tastes outstanding. And this is chicken sausage, not pork sausage. So I'm, you know, I cannot believe the amount of flavor in this thing. And the good news is, because there's no cheese in it, it's not really messy. It did leak a little bit because there's like juice from the vegetables, but I'd much rather have a little bit of watery juice coming out than a bunch of gooey cheese getting everywhere, right? So I'm eating it and I'm like, wow, this is like incredibly good, right? Like I'm like, if I could never eat a frozen burrito again that I buy from the store, I would eat the fresh burrito every morning. The thing is, you know, how many are you going to make in a batch? I think she had made a batch. She made like 6. And of course, between the two of us, that means it's only going to last a few days, you know. So probably what we'll do, I'll start alternating, and I'll have like maybe a bagel one day and one of these burritos the next day. But dude, that was so effing good. And that's homemade. That's incredibly healthy for you. And it's like, what a great way to start the day, as opposed to what, you know, people who just eat like microwave cheese and shit like that. All that stuff that you see at the store, you know, they have those sandwiches. Oh, have a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich on a fucking, you know, on a croissant roll, or on a egg English muffin. That shit is horrible for you. It really is. Like, you got to read all the stats on it. It's like incredibly high in sodium, incredibly high in fat, and they're saying, oh, this is good for breakfast. You're literally loading your body with grease and shit first thing in the morning. And I used to eat that stuff all the time too. You know, that's, you know, when I was at my heaviest, that was my breakfast. Wake up, shove one of those in the microwave, or I would go to the local Duchess restaurant in Connecticut, and I would buy a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich and eat it on the way to work. And that's why I got so fat, you know? So, like, damn, this might actually help a lot. You know, having a healthier breakfast, you know, every other day or whatever. So I strongly recommend it. And those are simple ingredients. You can easily get chicken sausage, pico de gallo, or just like diced tomatoes. If you can't access the pico, just get some diced tomatoes, some peppers, right? And this chipotle sauce or whatever, which is, you know, just to get some kind of a sauce that has like a Mexican taste to it. And dude, it's so easy. So easy to make, so easy to do. Just don't even fall for the trap of buying the pre-made stuff. It's, you know, yeah, it's easy, but at the same time, if you spend like an hour a week making a batch of these, and you have a healthy breakfast every day, crazy good. Oh, excuse me.
Typically helps me more than anything.